Actually, I'm the third generation beer wholesaler. My granddad immigrated from Germany at the turn of the century, and he was kind of a local entrepreneur from Alexandria, Indiana. He settled there, and he was like 9 years old when he came over on the ship, and so his name was John J. Smith. And, you know, Granddad, how'd you get your name? Well, that was the name of the guy in front of me, and that was the name in front of him, and the name in front of him. So that's how the name came about. And so anyway, he started a distributorship in Alexandria, and one of the brands that he had was Budweiser. So at that point, it was not as near as market share as what it is currently. My dad went to Notre Dame, and after graduation, he worked for Lever Brothers for a short while, and then he started up a beer distributorship as well. With primary brand was Jury's, which was made up in South Bend, Indiana, and then he picked up Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then Miller High Life, and then Miller Lite, and since then he had sold out in '96, and I bought a Bud operation in 1980. So 3 different generations, all different companies, and then son Terrance is coming in the business, or is in the business currently, so being the 2nd generation in this particular company, but 4th generation beer wholesaler. We pick up what we would describe as East Central Indiana. We start on 96th Street, the north side of 96, and go up to Hartford City. So that's Hartford City is the north side. Then we, Richmond area, Anderson area, Muncie area, and Hamilton County area. And probably from Gray Road, eastbound would be us, I think, is the determining line there. With all the years that we have good relationships with the retailers, and which helps get the product on the shelf. So, and they're also interested in having new items. Right now it's kind of in vogue, what's new. And so from a legacy brand like Bud Light, we kind of continually have to reinvent the what's new piece of it. And so how do we go to market? How do we attract the consumers to our product and make it in style, feel comfortable, big promotions, brand identification. So that's one piece of the wheel. The other one with the micro beers and the craft side, it's really a heavy consumer contact, sampling. We have sampling events for Budweiser, we have sample events for Bud Light, we also have sample events for the craft beer. So it's all getting the consumer to have a taste experience and also have a connectivity with the marketing style. We lived in Anderson for, I don't know, born and raised there, and we moved probably maybe 5 years ago. The primary thing, we like the idea with the family setting here of being able to be on the water, have family events here, and a reason to gather. So that's kind of what brought us to the lake, was an idea to have a family activity center to have gatherings. You know, it has. We've had a lot of good events here. You know, we've had charity fundraisers and political ones, and good parties, good camaraderie and so it's worked out good. Have some fishermen out here that bring some catches in occasionally.
As my father would say, it's challenging, but it's also a blessing. I've been very lucky and fortunate to have a mentor like him. I know that a lot of people don't. A lot of father-son relationships, whether they go into business or not, they may not have they're not as close as what we are. We speak on a daily basis, whether it's work, whether it's, you know, family stuff, wedding plans, as you would say. But no, I'm very blessed on where I'm at. I believe I started when I was 14 years old, and the first job was to scrub gum off the floors and to paint the warehouse. So I had this little 4x6 paintbrush and got painting. Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor is a program where Well, we were introduced to it 3 years ago. Major Lieutenant, he was a major. Dan Rooney was a fighter pilot, and when he got out of the service, he found an opportunity for wounded veterans and/or families that had lost a loved one during war. And with that, he posed a question on what happens to the kids when the husband or wife that was serving is now deceased. What happens to their education? What happens to their home life? So ultimately, Folds of Honor is a scholarship, educational scholarship program that not only my father and I fully believe in, but we've donated this year $5,000 to a local family for a scholarship. And in partnership with the Geist Lake Coalition, we wanted to give something extra. It's nice to write a check, but that doesn't always get to the root of the problem. And so we had numerous volunteers. Over 20% of our employees came out to support the Geist Cleanup Day. We found and cleaned up several hundred pounds of trash, toilet seats to water bottles to fishing lures, all kinds of stuff. But and we also cleaned up a lot of the milfoil that has washed ashore. It is difficult at times. There's numerous aspects to the company. One is a retail side, two is your supplier. So you hear it from a lot of different directions. It's not all bad news. A lot of it's good. But when we get busy, I think the amount of time we have to dedicate to the job is probably the most challenging, but it's also the most rewarding. 20 years from now, well, I hope that my father's still around and that we're still running the business together. I think that growing the business with more consumers coming into the territory, I think that I would like to be in the positive growth area. I think we'll be in Hamilton County and continuing to give back to the retailers and in our communities and the consumers. I don't see many drastic changes at this point, but it's you never know from day to day.